It is Teddy Atlas. We're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. Keep watching. Otherwise,
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So following the Marquez versus Alvarado fight, Max Kellerman, who called that fight, surprisingly did an interview talking about the suspicion of Marquez possibly using PEDs. In that interview, he basically talked about it's not usual that you see a guy peaking at the age of 40, being faster, being quicker, having more stamina, so on and so forth. We've heard this story so many times before, but this is pretty much the gist of what Max Kellerman said, shining light on a situation that needs to be brought up more often in this sport, because we need to do something about fighters that are possibly using PEDs. Now, even though Max Kellerman has been somewhat hypnotized and corrupted by commentators like Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant, every now and then he does the right thing or he says the right thing. So it's definitely a step towards the right direction when you have someone with the type of exposure that a Max Kellerman has to speak on a subject like this. Now, the only bad thing about it is he didn't do it on air, which would have brought even more light to the situation. The fact that he did it after the show and he did it on somewhat of a little side interview, it's not as exposed, but it's a positive step in the right direction. When it comes to PEDs in the sport of boxing, you can't help but think or even ask yourself, are some of these fighters being protected? Are some of these fighters being protected by these organizations, by these big networks, by the promoters? Could it be possible that some of these people in higher positions, they know that some of these fighters are doping, using PEDs, so on and so forth, but they are protecting them because of an emotional attachment? Could it be possible? Manny Pacquiao fans and Marquez fans, I want to ask you a question. And all I ask is that you be honest with yourself in your heart. Okay? You don't have to tell anyone that you're being honest. You don't have to tell anyone the truth. You could go ahead and type whatever you want to type on YouTube, but I'm just asking you to be honest with yourself to the question that I'm going to ask you, okay? Let's say you were in a position where you were taking, let's say, Manny Pacquiao's blood samples or Juan Marquez's blood samples, right? And let's just say this is all hypothetical. So the blood samples come back positive for the use of THG, often referred to as the clear. Okay, this is the drug that athletes use to gain energy, speed, preserve stamina, so on and so forth. Okay, now you're in a position where all of the power is in your hands, right? You could either submit this information to your superiors and completely ruin one of these fighters' legacies and career, or you could sweep this right under the rug and act like it never happened. You can go ahead and fix things up, and all of a sudden, now Manny Pacquiao or Juan Marquez, they have a blood sample that's showing negative for no drug use, for no PEDs, right? What would you do in a situation like that when you are a person that is emotionally attached to Manny Pacquiao, to Juan Marquez? You see where I'm going with this, guys? We know what you would do if you had that type of power. So that's just something I want you guys to think about. There's a lot of things going on in the sport of boxing, a lot of corruption, and, things need to change. I mean, it's just really ridiculous when you think about it, because almost every other sport, especially all of the Olympic sports, baseball, football, the majority of them, they have some type of protocol when it comes to Olympic-style drug testing, all right? And what's so funny about it is all of those other sports, they don't include punching people in the head. Only in the sport of boxing and MMA do you have people punching people, kicking people in the damn head. And fortunately for the cheaters, this is the only sport where they don't test for these type of drugs. Sure, they test for marijuana. Sure, they test for people using diuretics to lose weight. But why wouldn't you be testing for the main drugs that could really affect people's health, their opponent's health? I mean, go into the mind of a cheater. He's over here sitting over here thinking like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me that they test for these drugs in every other sport, but they're not going to test me in the sport of boxing? So you mean to tell me I'm already not that strong of a puncher? I can enhance my power. I'm not the fastest. I can enhance my speed. I get tired quick. I can enhance my stamina, and no one will even test me to see if I'm using this stuff? Oh, I'm definitely going to use it. And this is the way hundreds and hundreds of cheaters think. And this is the reason why we need to have mandatory drug testing throughout the sport. Okay? That's pretty much all I got on this one, guys. I'm on to the next one.